It's spring, and it's still cold. But regardless if it's cold or not, it does not prevent the Major League Baseball season starting. In fact, actually, the season has already started if you want to count the Seattle Mariners games in Japan against the Oakland Athletics. How's it going, everybody? We're going to be talking about the Seattle Mariners this year. Didn't talk about them last year. FYI, I do not know how long this video is going to be because there's a lot to talk about. First off, before we get underway, I started blogging again, so if you're interested in seeing a little bit more detail with the Seattle Mariners, I'll put the link below. It's seattleMarinersFanforLife.mlbblogs.com. Go ahead and check that out if you wish. Also, I'm going to try to post this video to the blog as well. Alright, so that's out of the way. But yeah, in case you missed it last year, I worked for the Seattle Mariners and therefore did not talk about the M's at all online last year on YouTube. Talked a little bit about them on Facebook, but you know, that's kind of unavoidable. But at the same time, really stayed away from the Mariners. So I have a lot of my sports content back, which is very nice. Why am I not working for them this year? Well, it's because, no hard feelings, I was asked back to work at the team store, but I found another job, and it was full-time. Compared to the one with the Mariners, it was temporary. Temporary part-time job. But I had a lot of fun. If you're a Mariners employer and you come across this, had a lot of fun working for the M's last year. Have a lot of cool stories which we could dissect into good stories, like meeting some players in passing and you know, some cool behind-the-scenes stuff with Safeco Field and what have you. But again, that's a video for another time. So again, thank you, Seattle Mariners. I was asked back this year, but thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to learn about your organization. And I will still be at Safeco, just as a fan, not as an employee. That being said, one of the first things I did when I got this full-time job is I bought my first ever Seattle Mariners season ticket package. I got a little note here from the M's. It says, "Thank you for purchasing a Seattle Mariners 6-game flex pack for the 2012 season. Enclosed are your tickets. Please review the contents of this package carefully to ensure that your order has been filled properly. If you have any questions, please contact the Seattle Mariners at particular phone number for assistance. We look forward to seeing you at the ballpark this season, the Seattle Mariners." I have waited. I understand that, you know, it's obviously, you know, thanks for your business type of deal, but I have waited for something, this little note ever since I was 10 years old. I've been waiting for it for a very long time. So, that being said, let's go over the games really quickly. Here are the tickets. Got 2 seats for 6 games. First, show them to you. Well, they seem to be a little sticky. Don't have any Yankees or Red Sox this time around. Just decided not to see those teams. Saw them a couple of years ago, so that was fun. So here you go. Woo! Yep. First game will be against Oakland. Second game, Chicago White Sox. Third game, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Fourth game will be the Dodgers. The LA Dodgers are coming to town. Fifth game, the Giants. Last game, the Kansas City Royals. And for those of you who might say, why the heck did you get tickets to see the Kansas City Royals? It's because Randy Johnson and Dan Wilson are being elected into the Mariners Hall of Fame. And I happened to go to every single Mariners Hall of Fame night. The first 3 were by accident, but the last one, but it was after the third one where I said, you know what, I've gone to every single Hall of Fame game. I got to go to all of them, including Griffey's. That's for Deshaun. But yeah, so I've seen Alvin Davis, Dave Niehaus, Jay Buhner, Edgar Martinez all get elected into the Mariners Hall of Fame, and now we can add Randy Johnson and Dan Wilson, and they happen to be playing the Kansas City Royals. All right, so let's get started, shall we? One more thing. As far as all of the Major League Baseball trash talking videos that I did, they're all gone. They're all gone, and if they are tucked away somewhere, frankly, I kind of hope that's where they stay. because I will not be participating in the MLB TTC. I've already gotten a couple of messages on YouTube saying, hey, you know, why don't you do this? No. I mean, I'll talk baseball. Don't get me wrong. I'll talk baseball. If you would like to have a little online bet where you change your background of your YouTube channel, or you want to come up with something else like, fun video, that type of video, I'm up for that. But as far as trash talking goes, probably if that happens, I probably would just preview the series, and that would be it. And I give you a shout-out. So, but all of the games that I went to that year, in 2010, I still have those. So if you are interested in seeing those, just comment below. I'm sure Coaster would love to see his A's video, because that was the day Don Wakamatsu was fired, and I had a little rant there. I know how he likes to kind of poke his stick on my side and kind of be like, hey, go Oakland, but that's fine. But anyway, the games were against the Angels, Cubs, Yankees, Red Sox, and A's, so if you're interested in seeing any of those videos, let me know, and I'll upload them to my channel. All the games, of course, took place in 2010. Alright, let's preview this year's team. Let's preview this year's team. We are starting from scratch. A lot of stuff happened last year. I have a lot of feelings and emotions and opinions about what happened with last year, but it's a clean slate. All of the old videos where I talked about the Mariners, they're gone, including my first ever vlog entry. That's gone. So we're starting from scratch. 2012. Here we go. Overall, the expectations this season are to show progress. Okay. Jack Zarenzik's regime has had one really good year, a terrible year, and an okay year, in that order, being 2009, 10, and 11. This year, it is more than just seeing the future. It is more than just seeing guys like Dustin Ackley, #1 draft pick. Hey, he's supposed to be really good. Mike Kirk, we got him in a trade with, Jason Vargas and Franklin Gutierrez. He's supposed to be really good. Trayvon Robinson, another great, fun prospect to watch. We are past that point, all right? It is time to see guys like Dustin Ackley, like Mike Harp, like Casper Wells, Kyle Seager, and all the other young guys. Now is the time to show some progress, because they were like this last year when they were going through their audition period. Now it's time to see the numbers start to escalate a little bit, particularly for Justin Smoke. I understand your father died. I actually was, he's a very nice guy. Funny story, in a week I met his wife, himself, and his mother while working with the team store in separate days. So the guy is a really nice, respectable guy. But it is time to finally see the numbers show me something. I understand, again, he had the injuries. I understand that his father passed away, and that is going to take a toll on your, on your playing. I get that. But, now you have a clean slate. This is it. This is your full season. You stay healthy this full season, then we'll have an idea of where you really are at. And the same thing can be said for guys like Michael Saunders, Casper Wells, again, Dustin Ackley, Kyle Seager. All these young players who are starting to come up to the farm system. We are past the whole, let's see a bunch of young kids strike out 20 times. Again, we want to see progression. That being said, let's go over the team. Starting pitching. I think the starting pitching is good, but it's not as good as it used to be. And that's what happens when you trade away Doug Fister and Michael Pineda. But we still have King Felix. I mean, Felix is going to be Felix this year. Ken Rosenthal predicts him to be the American League Cy Young Award winner. And then you got Jason Vargas. The problem with Jason Vargas is he's not a #2 guy. He's more of a #3, #4 guy. And last year when he was going through his streak, I'm sure you can say it was against NL teams, but he was in the 3rd and 4th hole. The reason why he's in the #2 is because if you really think about it, since the Mariners traded away Michael Pineda, there really is not a person to fill that #2 hole. So he is the next best thing. Overall, he's a solid pitch. I think he's a good, solid #3, #4. But I'm hoping that somebody else from the Mariners starting pitching staff, takes that #2 spot to drop Vargas down, so that way he can pitch well like he did last year. #3, you got one of the pitcher in the Michael Pineda trade, Hector Noesi. I got my fingers crossed with him because, actually, now since I keep bringing it up, let's talk about the Pineda trade. We traded Jose Campos, a single-A pitcher, and Michael Pineda to the New York Yankees for Jesus Montero and Hector Noesi. Now, initially, I did not like the deal. I didn't like the deal because at one point, according to the Seattle Times, Michael Pineda was actually the best prospect in our system, better than Dustin Ackley. But that being said, Hector Noesi is coming to the Mariners. He's won a job as the third starting pitcher in the rotation. If he can perform well and put up some good stats, that trade looks pretty dang good. Because you have the other side of the equation, where you have Jose Campos, as far as I know, a really nice single-A pitcher right now. But Michael Pineda is actually going to start the season in the minors with the Yankees, because they're saying that he doesn't throw hard and he's overweight. I don't necessarily agree with the critics over there, and I also think it's got to deal with the Yankees having a lot of pitching depth due to including now since they have Andy Pettitte back. That could be one thing, but if Hector Noesi can come in, take Pineda's spot in the rotation and pitch well, then we really didn't lose anything if you think about it. I'm not necessarily thinking that Noesi is going to be the next best thing. I do think that Pineda's got the ability, the skills to become an ace. But again, if he can, if he can come in and replace Pineda, nice move by Jack Sorensen. And as of right now, that's what they're saying he's going to do. I mean, heck, he's already won a starting job. Number 3, you got Blake Bevan. I think that is, I was actually kind of surprised he got the number 4 spot because I thought he was a good solid 5th guy. But that being said, I think that guy is just going to constantly improve. He did really well against the lower tier of the major leagues, struggled mightily against the higher tier of the major leagues, and then was kind of But he had some really good quality outings, and good luck to him. I think there's the chance that he can pan out as well. Then you got Kevin Millwood at number 5. I think this was an outstanding move by Jack Sorensen in the offseason, taking a gamble on a veteran guy like Kevin Millwood. And, heck, he already knows Eric Wedge, so there's a nice connection there. I think the starting pitching is going to be all right. I really do. It's not going to be as great. It's not going to be as dominant, but it's going to be solid enough to keep us in games, late in games, so that way our offense, more on that later, can try and come through. Now let's go to the bullpen. The bullpen, I think, is going to go through a lot of growing pains this year. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys in our bullpen, and what bullpen in Major League Baseball is not getting revamped? In fact, we even saw it in the A's series. A healthy Sean Kelly can't keep the ball in the ballpark. Gives up a home run to, I think it's that new Cuban player that the A's signed. I forgot his name, but it starts with a C. But anyway, I think we're going to see a lot of growing pains. The one wild card on this team, however, I think is Brandon League. Now, for those of you who remember, back when I was talking about the Mariners before, I wanted Brandon League off this team. I wanted Brandon League off this team. I thought he was garbage. I thought he was awful. That video. Well, last year he made me shut up. He made me shut up. He had an all-star year. He really took the closer and made it his own. He struggled 1 week against Washington and Baltimore. And that's another thing, too. If he struggles against the Orioles in Baltimore, I'm not going to be surprised because it's blatantly obvious there's something that happens with Brandon League in Baltimore. I don't know why. But that being said, he is the biggest wild card on this team, and here's why. The Mariners have had a terrible pattern with closers. This began in 2000 when we had Kazuhiro Sasaki. A couple great years. Then gets hurt, by falling down the stairs. Never was the same. Eventually left the team to go back to Japan. After that, you had Eddie Guardado. 2 very good, solid years. Then he, gets hurt and for some odd reason lost his mechanics. I blame the pitching coach, frankly, Rafi Chavez, but that's just me. And then he goes down. Well, then you got J.J. Puts up a good, solid season and a half because he took over the season Eddie Guardado went down. And then we sign him to a big contract. He gets hurt. It takes him a good, I want to say, 2 or 3 years before he finally got back to where he was. Now being the closer of the Arizona Diamondbacks, because he didn't have a good year for the New York Mets when we traded him. Then, after that, you got David Ardsmo. Again, closer that comes out of nowhere. He gets a nice 2-year contract for about $8-10 million. He only pitches 1 full season under that contract. Now you got Brandon League. Now, I'm not saying that Brandon League is going to get hurt. But what's happened with these closers is that they've had a lot of career years. And then not only do they get hurt, but teams begin to pick up on them. And because of that, the advantage goes to the opposing team. And so what's going to be interesting now is people have seen Brandon League pitch in the closer role for a year. How are they going to counter it now? There's a lot of film on Brandon League. And I'm really hoping that he breaks this streak, because it really would be nice to actually have a good quality closer for a string that's longer than 2 or 3 years. I can tell you that right now. The difference between Brandon League and all the other guys that I mentioned, outside the injuries, of course, is Brandon League is not getting paid a ton of money. So if he does go down, it's not going to hurt us financially. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I mean, knock on wood. I mean, nobody gets hurt. But that's the one wild card. Is this going to be the year where he goes down and we have to find a new closer? Or is he going to continue to excel and continue to rack up those saves? Which is why I have him as the biggest wild card of this team. All right, so that's the pitching. Fielding. Despite not having Franklin Gutierrez for the for the first couple of weeks of the season, I do think our defense is pretty good. Miguel Olivo is kind of iffy behind the plate. But then again, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Miguel Olivo because there's sometimes he looks awesome. Like, for example, he led the team in home runs last year. Awesome, right? Problem is, it was only 19, and he batted .224. So, as you can see, love, hate, right? But again, I think the defense should be okay. You got Michael Saunders, who's tearing it up in spring training and can cover a lot of ground in center field. Mike Karp is looking all right. I know Dustin Ackley made an error at second base, but he's during the games in Japan against Oakland, but he's still looking pretty solid. So defense, pretty good. Now, here is the big elephant in the room. The terrible offense. One of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball history since the DH was implemented. This is what I have to say about the offense. And I mean, I could go over Sean Figgins batting first, Ichiro batting third. I could dissect Jesus Montero. I could dissect, Kyle Seager, Ackley. We talked about Smoke a little bit. This is just to be blunt. Until we have 2 players that bat over 300, and we have another 2 players who hit 25 to 30 home runs a season, we are going to lose games. We're going to lose games. There still right now is not that one hitter that other teams fear. There's no, oh my God, this one particular guy is batting cleanup. We need to pitch around him. Some people could make the case that Ichiro could be that guy, but no, Ichiro is going to be Ichiro. And I bring that up because even when he was in the leadoff spot, guys, other teams would walk him. And I can see them doing the same thing until somebody steps up and hits 25 to 30 home runs, or until somebody bats over 300. I mean, it's really unfortunate. I don't care who these players are who decide to actually step up and make these numbers. I don't care if it's Smoke. I don't care if it's Ackley. I don't care if it's Figgins. I don't care if it's Ichiro. I don't care if it's Miguel Olivo or Kyle Seager. I don't care if it's Carlos Figueroa or Michael Saunders. I don't care if it's Casper Wells. At the end of the day, we need offense. And we need a couple of players to come together and gel and produce. And until that happens, our offense is going to stink. Our offense is going to stink. We already saw it a little bit when the Mariners were in Japan. Second game against Bartolo Colon. Granted, he's had a lot of success against the Mariners, but only 3 hits. And if it had been for a home run by Justin Smoke, we would have gotten shut out. You look at the first game in Japan. We were up 1-0 in the top of the 4th. They score a run. Next thing you know, we're in the extra innings, and we haven't had a base hit since the 6th inning. So, again, the offense, it's on them at this point. Seriously, it is on them at this point. This is the team Jack Sorensic and Eric Wedge and all the people wanted, to put together. So someone's got to step up, and until somebody does, our offense is going to stink. Our offense is going to stink. My expectations for this team, obviously, every single year when the Mariners come back from a losing or coming off a losing season, obviously my goal as a fan is to hold the team to 82 wins. If you get 82 wins, you establish you're a winning club. That's when you can start tweaking it and start, making moves to the point to make yourself a playoff contender. And that's the reason why I got so excited in 2009, 2010 during that offseason, because we got 85 wins. We had something there. That's ultimately what I would like to have happen, and that's been my expectations every year. That still is. That being said, if the Mariners don't get 82 wins, I will accept that as long as they don't lose 90 games. I just don't want to lose 90 games this year. I don't want to be in the top 5 picks of next year's draft. I don't want to be, one of the lowly lows of MLB. It would be nice not to finish last in the AL West. I am looking for a 6-game improvement from last year's 67 and 95 team. I would like to see the Mariners finish at least 73 and 89. I will take 89. I just don't want 90 losses. I want this streak over in terms of, you've lost 90 games, at least 90 games over this period of time, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So I want 82 and 80 at least. If they don't get it, I'll give the Mariners a pass as long as we don't lose 90 games. I will accept 89 losses. Again, just don't lose 90 games. Please, I'm begging you guys, do not lose 90 games. That's pretty much all I got for the M's. Expect some blog entries throughout the season. Again, I'll put the link below to my blog. Try to keep that updated, do some fun stuff there. And unlike last year when I put all the videos I made in regards to the Mariners at the end of the season, you can expect to see them throughout the Major League Baseball season. One last thing, my goal is, as a broadcaster, was not to yell about the Mariners. I know I did that a lot the first time I talked about them, and I know the Mariners are probably going to try my patience and try a lot of people's patience, but my goal is not to yell. So hopefully that doesn't show up. And last thing, if you want to see my Mariners music video or my slideshow, watch it now, because next week it will be deleted sometime. I'll put that link below as well, so that way you guys can see the videos from last year. So, go M's! Let's go take down Oakland again. We got our United States home opener next Wednesday down at the Oakland Coliseum, and let's do this. Let's try to put together a good quality season this year, and not be in the bottom 5 or the bottom of the AL West. Again, I'll even take 3rd place in the AL West. Yeah, I will. All right, talk to you all later. Thanks for watching.